And then I think it was 4 first-round picks between the two teams to Houston and other players. So we'll see. First of all, I just want to... The Dolphins, that's a stupid trade. So the names that have been tossed out for trades have been Tua, Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, and of course Xavier Howard. But if you get rid of Tua, Waddle, or Phillips, those are 3 rookie contracts that you're not paying them very much money. And you're bringing in Deshaun Watson, who's got a huge contract. And your offensive line sucks. And your receivers suck. And your defense sucks. And your running game sucks. So how are you going to get better?
Stop, because I want this to happen. It's an extremely short-sighted move, especially with Watson's allegations and everything that could mean that he never plays a snap of football again. Which if these allegations are true, then more than deserves to never play again. And I'd love for them to do a short-sighted move like this and go for win now for some reason, even though their defense looks like crap and their offense looks like crap, and so by all means, because this was what the Jets were discussing pre-allegations, and I was worried about it.
The Jets did say they weren't willing to go more than a first-round pick this year, a first-round pick in 2023, and Marcus May, which they're going to give up Marcus May anyways, probably to the Cowboys by the time they play the next game, is the last thing I saw, is Marcus May is expected to be a Cowboy by Halloween night. And a first-round pick this year, which they had 2, and then a first-round pick in 2023, so that they don't give up too much for him. And the Texans were like, nah, that's not happening. Which that, I think, would have been a more fair thing. Because Marcus May isn't going to be a Jet next season no matter what. All right. So, using him as part of the trade, good. You have to give up at least 1 first. Don't give up consecutive year first. That's a mistake. Yeah, I think the Jets trade would have been better, but this trade is just ridiculous. There's no team in the NFL, and I mean no team in the NFL outside of the 49ers, that I feel could give up 3 first-round draft picks and be okay. Because the Niners have an offensive line already, their defense is set, their running backs are good enough for them to be successful. A superstar quarterback like Deshaun Watson, if he plays, makes that team better, and that team's already a playoff caliber team when everything's clicking. So, outside of the 49ers, I don't think any team should be dumb enough to give up 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson. For any athlete, but Deshaun Watson. Anyways.
Yeah, I could see it if not for all these allegations and whatnot. Like, I just don't know how you make that trade. Just speaking from purely a football manager perspective, how you make that trade with that level of risk. Not because obviously we're not going to know anything fully until we get all the facts. As I said, it looks terrible. I wouldn't do it. But
it's also probably not going to the court case and all that probably not going to happen until like 2024 anyways.
Yeah. But you got to also imagine that if you start him before facts are known and there's, 30-something allegations, you're going to have some public backlash. People are not going to be okay with you starting an alleged serial assaulter. I wouldn't want him starting on my team. I'll tell you that. I wouldn't want him on the Jets after all that. And based on the numbers, it certainly looks legitimate.
Yeah, and the texts that have been turned over, yeah, it looks legit. Yeah. So, yeah, with all that, God, Dolphins lose a close one, 23-20, I guess. Jaguars win. Jaguars get their first win of the season. Trevor Lawrence breaks his, 6-game losing streak. The Jaguars snap their 20-game losing streak, which is crazy.
that was the second longest in the NFL history, right?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure
Browns.
I'm pretty sure the Browns, the season they went 0-16, lost the last 5 and then lost the entire 16 and then lost the first 5 the next season. So I think that's a 26-game losing streak, if I remember correctly. But, yeah, I think there are 2 things that I really want to point out with this. One, the Lions are stupid because Marvin Jones is really good. And 2, the Jaguars are stupid because James Robinson's really good.
Yep.
And imagine you could have had like, I don't know, any offensive lineman that isn't one of the first 3 taken with your second first-round pick. Instead, you went with ETN, who you're not going to have for the whole season anyways. And not that I don't like ETN, I really do. I think on the right team, he could be a very good football player. It's just stupid to draft someone that's expected to be a starter when you have James Robinson as your running back. And we've discussed that, so I'm not going to beat that to death. But Jaguars 23, Dolphins 20. Next, we're going to go back to those Lions. They lose a real close one, 34-11. And by close, I mean Jared Goff is close to being kicked off the team.
He's so bad. He's so bad. And I called this. I've said it, I feel like, for a long time. I thought Jared Goff was a fraud. I thought he was being held up by an extremely talented rest of the roster and tricky plays by Sean McVay. And I think I feel vindicated.
You're part right, I think, there, because I think less so the players necessarily and more so the coaching. And I've been saying this. When you have a coach that is willing to work with and adapt to your quarterback's strengths, that's how you have a successful quarterback no matter how good they were. When Harbaugh was in San Francisco, Kaepernick looked like an all-star. You take Harbaugh out of the equation, he's average. The coach needs to know how to coach for the quarterback. And if that quarterback doesn't fit your coaching style and you're not willing to adjust your team to fit your star player's strengths, then that shouldn't be your star player. And I think the Rams, at the time, with McVay and then having a running game they can rely on with Todd Gurley, I think that it was a great situation for Goff, allowed him to be successful because McVay was making him successful. And I think, honestly, I don't think Matthew Stafford does anything better for the Rams that they couldn't have got out of Goff if they have a successful run game. But Stafford's also killing it, kind of. Like, he's having some real bad things, like, I don't know, throwing an interception when you're 2 feet from the sideline. You can just fucking chuck it out of bounds. But we already talked about that. Dan Campbell, head coach of the Detroit Lions, basically said Jared Goff's job is not safe. Essentially, said that he needs to step up. If you want to be an NFL player, you have to play better. Ouch.
Yeah, he's been awful. The whole offense has been awful. Like, lean on DeAndre Swift because he's by far your most talented player.
13 carries, 24 yards for DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, but look at his catches.
Yep.
And a nice late touchdown to salvage his fantasy day. I don't know what their plan is. Obviously, you want to go to Hawk, but teams are gonna try and do their best to cover him and let you beat them with someone else. And they've got some injured wide receivers. And they finally got Ayami St. Brown maybe getting going, so we'll see if he can step up. But yeah, and this is coming from a Jets fan. They look bad.
Yeah, they look real bad, really bad, and they make some really stupid decisions. Just right off the top of my head, do you remember that Kerryon Johnson was basically lighting shit up for the Lions in his rookie year. And then they're just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it. We want DeAndre. Wait, what's this? We're up by 3 in a game? We should be running? Fuck it. Chuck it. Lose. Like, what are you doing? Kerryon Johnson, like, 2018, 2019, and 2020, over those 3 years, he's averaging 4.3 yards per carry. That's pretty goddamn decent. You know, he's only got 1,225 yards, 8 touchdowns. But for a guy that they just weren't giving the ball for more than half the year, like, I feel like they really screwed him over. And then they brought in DeAndre Swift, and his time was just done. But I felt like Swift and Kerryon could have been one of the best 1-2 punches in the NFL. But Lions gonna Lions, right?
Right.
Anyways, back to the Lions game. Wait, I skipped over a game. We'll go back to that one after. Bengals 34, Lions 11. Burrow 271 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Jared Goff 202 yards, 1 interception. Joe Mixon 18 carries, 94 yards. Jamar Chase 4 receptions, 97 yards. Just an absolute beatdown by the Bengals. So I want to ask you this question. Are the Bengals for real, or are they just playing some real shit teams and playing really well against those bad teams?
They'll be exposed. I mean, they played well against the Packers. You know, they had a couple chances to win that game last week. A lot of missed field goals. They beat up on the Lions, and, you know, that's what you're supposed to do if you're not a bad team. I don't think so. That says I don't think they're a bad team, but I don't think they're a real contender. They could make playoffs, and in fact, they look like they're on a very solid trajectory to do so. They're 4-2, but I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender. I think they'll make it to. You know, they could. Who's in their division again?
Ravens,
Steelers,
Browns,
the Ravens.
and Steelers.
So I don't think they're going to win their division. So they'll have to be in the wild card. I think they could win the wild card, but I don't think they'd go past the semis, and then on to the AFC Championship. So that's where I stand on them. I think they're good. I think they've got a lot of stuff going for them, and you know they're a few pieces away.
I agree. I'm actually in Madden doing a Bengals franchise, and I'm tanking so that I can get an offensive lineman, and I've acquired a second first-round pick, and with that I'm going to take a linebacker. And I think with those two pieces, the Bengals, at least Madden-wise, could be a very good team.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking at their matchups. They haven't beat a team with a winning record, so you know that to me says that you're probably a middling team. To be fair, I think we have some crow to eat on Jamar Chase. He looks like he's everything that they drafted him to be. He looks amazing. So, you know, we were talking a lot of crap about that, about thinking that they should have definitely gone for a lineman, and that Joe Burrow to Chase connection is real. So, yeah, I humbly eat crow for that because I think they were right to take him.
No. I'm not going to.
Looks like he's torching defenses.
I'm not going to eat that crow for a couple reasons. One, that offensive lineman is still in need. Burrow is still getting attacked by teams that shouldn't be. By teams that aren't very good. They needed an offensive lineman. Jamar Chase, is he the best wide receiver in the so far in the draft? He's looking like he is, but there's also Jalen Waddle who's looking really good. Devontae Smith is looking really good. Kadarius Toney is looking really good. There are rookie wide receivers that are looking good, but you need that offensive lineman.